Hi guys, well I asked on Twitter a lot of your opinions on CM Punk and his just everything to do with CM Punk every time. So I left my email on the tweet and a load of you got back to me, so thank you for taking the time. Some of you DM'd me, some of you Facebook mailed me, but most of all people emailed, which is really great. So I'm going to get into the gist of the emails. I just have my iPad here. I'll give my own thoughts at the end, but I just thought it was an interesting concept to get everyone's opinion, everyone's kind of view, because I mean, it's very important. Charlie told me that he goes, well, I hope that he returns eventually, but if he doesn't then we'll have to accept that he's gone, but I would love to see him return, possibly Payback, SummerSlam, or next year's Royal Rumble, and then to eventually main event WrestleMania 31. When I asked him what his thoughts about CM Punk leaving were, he said if those reasons are why he left, then maybe he needs to sit down with Vince and talk about it all instead of walking out like he did. And then I asked him what he thought of the CM Punk chants throughout Raw, pay-per-views and stuff. So with the chants I do find them annoying, but eventually they tamed down once people understood he wasn't coming back for now. So that's Charlie's thoughts. Josh Smith, or Joshua, I love that name actually, it's a really nice name. He said the guy's great in the ring and on the microphone. I don't like him personally, never have done, and that is because the way he is on Twitter to some of his fans. As for him walking out, if the rumours are true, facing Triple H at Mania, well, that should be seen as an honour. If it's not because of Triple H and it's bringing back good part-timers, I get it. But either way, I find it disrespectful to the talent in the ring when Punk has been chanted, and I wish they would stop, especially now that it's been a while. Responses were really long. Axel Mulligan, I will kill you for your long ass response, but he's basically saying that he's a great performer and a great talent, but he is a whiny little biatch. When in regards to facing Triple H at Mania, he should have kind of realised that it would have been a match of the night. Axel's real name is Darren, and he also pointed out that CM Punk has probably the second or third biggest fan base in WWE, definitely behind Daniel Bryan and John Cena. He had 6 months to go on his contract, so why didn't he see it out? Darren seems to think that Punk felt that he was deserving of winning the Rumble and being main event at WrestleMania. He's also said that regardless of everything that's gone on, the only people that know what really happened are Punk and a handful of people, and I'm sure like Vince might be the only person. States that a lot of people pay a lot of money to see Punk, whether it's to buy DVD, merchandise of some kind, to go see him on the show, and he just kind of says here that he paid £100 of his money to just go see Punk in Cardiff a few years ago. The fact that the other guys were there was just a bonus. I got his DVD because I believed in him. I'm not alone in this. It's frustrating to see when one of your favourite guys does this. Comparing it to Austin, he said it is similar, but he's not sure of what Austin's contract status was back then, and Punk only had 6 months to go. Why didn't he just stick it out? I could forgive him if ever there were a real explanation and an apology to the fans for leaving, but for now, CM Punk, F you. Very strong words from Darren, and a lot of these are, in between. Some people get it and accept it, some people just don't, and I don't hate anyone for having their opinion because you're entitled. James Powers said, I can almost hear James Powers saying this, so that's why I'm giggling. He said he's so to the point, that's why I'm laughing. it's a good thing actually. On January 27, CM Punk left WWE under a so-called cloud. The question is, was it a cloud or was it because of one man's ego? It has since become apparent that CM Punk had issues with creative and to the fact that the part-timers came back to take the main event slots. So people like Bryan, Ziggler, Punk worked their ass off all year round only for part-timers to come in and take, like Batista. I suppose Batista is the perfect example. I think Batista, it's only my opinion, but since Triple H started taking more of a role in running WWE, presuming that's what he meant, kind of has it all weird. It's a case of if you're not a friend, you get buried. I think WWE actions towards AJ since Punk left says it all. Do I think Punk will ever come back? James thinks if the time was right, and if he does he think he'll ever come back? He says maybe if the time is right, and if he does, he can stand in the middle of the ring and say he's the best in the world. Anthony Walker. I think this is quite a long one as well. Yeah, it's on CM Punk. Everyone is allowed to have their view, but my thoughts on CM Punk is people can say what they want, but CM Punk has a reason for leaving. The reason for leaving, Anthony says everyone is allowed to have their view on CM Punk, but my thoughts about CM Punk is people can say what they want, but CM Punk has a reason for leaving WWE. Everyone has a reason for leaving, what they are doing good or bad. I believe it is booking which CM Punk has had issues with. His infamous pipe bombs where he called Johnny Ace a douchebag. Yes, basically Anthony's thoughts, I do apologise Anthony, but I had to kind of read that a few times and just take from it what I can. I don't know, it's just basically he just says that everyone is entitled to their own opinion on him, Punk, leaving. There is always a reason, whether it's good or bad. He just believes that Punk had issues with how he was being booked. And I think that has always, he thinks that has always been the issue, especially with his pipe bombs. He doesn't think that the booking of Triple H and Punk was a good idea. I'm guessing that's what you're meaning, Anthony. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment. He's just kind of saying basically either way, CM Punk, if you like him or not, is the best in the world. He's an awesome wrestler, he's an awesome professional wrestler, not a sports entertainer. He's king of the pipe bombs and a wrestler I've admired since he was on Indies. An email from Rachel, who is at CM Punk's fanbase on Twitter. I didn't see this in my inbox until the very last minute, but she says basically that her thoughts on Punk are that she wishes that he comes back, but she understands why he wouldn't want to. She still believes in him and will never stop loving him. WWE is trying to act like he never existed, and I hope that in the future they can be on better terms. Mimo, or Guillermo Mr. Montai, he basically doesn't think that Punk appreciates what he has had and what he has, and that he's just a constant complainer. Don't miss him whatsoever, and without Paul Heyman, he is a cookie cutter type of individual. Don't hold back there, Mimo. I think that's his name. Mr. Keel, good friend of mine, he says hard to form a proper opinion because we don't know his actual his proper reasons for leaving. He's always been a fan and always will be. The guy needed a rest, as has been noted by a few people. His body's beaten up and he always had ice packs all over him at events. If he left because his body was beat up and he had enough when Batista strolled in, then fair play to him, I'd have done the same. I just wish he had to come back in Chicago to address the situation and to give his reasons, and it would have stopped a lot of speculation. As for the chants, I think they distract from whatever is going on in the ring. I'm just reading aloud, so he just basically, yeah. I is him. Only time I'm okay with it is when it's in Chicago, it's his hometown and it's to be expected. I don't mind chanting if wrestlers channeling CM Punk, such as AJ when she said she was the best diva in the world. Do I think he'll return? I think he will in time, only if he's going to main event WrestleMania and get a big attraction match. I can't see him coming back for anything else. And he says in Bolden, most importantly, people need to move on from Punk in the same way we've moved on from Austin, Rock, Hogan. They need to look at the guys like Ambrose, Rollins, Wyatt, Cesaro and realise how good they are. WWE doesn't need CM Punk. Those guys are the future of WWE, so why not chant their names instead of a guy who no longer wants to wrestle. Stephen Wiles, bestie. He just says, strangely, CM Punk has not returned, and Stephen says that the wrestling world has not imploded. As much as he loved to watch him work, he isn't missing this saviour. Punk is an amazing wrestler, good performer, and the man on the mic, but if he chose to leave it all behind, I don't think he needs the money, and I want to believe that we've not seen the last of him, but be honest, the thought of will he leave again will always loom overhead. Wrestlers are not immortal. There are plenty of material Punks out there for fans to watch. He just chose to bow out earlier than most. But the importance is the impression that he left. With that said, WWE should not try to hide him, and fans should not try to say his leaving helped Brian. None of that matters, it's about the future. And until Punk returns, he is in the past. My friend Tim Mill. At first I thought it was a lot like the Austin situation when Punk walked out. I agree with where he stands with part-timers taking the spotlight. The boys deserve. But I don't think walking away is going to change anything. He said it himself, not going to change the world by sitting on my couch. I think that's a very good quote because he has said that. I asked John Canton, if you don't know who he is, he's an awesome writer. Punk has been the best in WWE in the last 5 years at least, and it's a shame that he decided to go home. While I understand his frustrations, the fan in me is upset that he wouldn't stick around WWE to work out whatever problems he had. He still has a lot to do in the wrestling business, but if his heart wasn't in it anymore, then who are we to judge him? We want our favourite performers to love what they're doing. If they don't, they might as well walk away. It's just a shame that one of the best wrestlers ever, and yes, we can call him that, isn't in the ring doing his thing, because very few can compete with the best in the world in terms of being one of the best all-around performers ever. Here's hoping he comes back soon, but if he doesn't, it's just an example that nobody is bigger than the business and it will always move on. Mr. Fucci, or Vinny, who is a writer on WrestlingNewsSource.com along with Stephen and I, and I'll link everyone, literally I'll do my best to link everyone's Twitter at least in the information bar, as well as WrestlingNewsSource.com, Twitter, Facebook and website, because it's an awesome website. So I mean, there's 50k followers, there's nearly 500,000 Facebook likes, so it's, awesome. And basically he left me a really long kind of mail, what was a document attached to a mail, so it's going to be a long one. He just kind of feels that the WWE isn't interested in the indies, and it doesn't matter how big you are on the indie scene, they're not that interested. But he just said that CM Punk is now lost in the world of sports entertainment. He just said the guy left on his own merit, and he probably had it in his head for some time. He shied away from WWE material in recent interviews leading up to the Rumble. He gave off the impression that he wasn't signing again in June, and I have to actually agree with that. The first time we played this game with Punk, he was almost out the door, but they reeled him back in with the main event spot. And he also had the longest reign as WWE champ of this modern era with 434 days. For an indie guy, Punk didn't do too bad for himself, considering he was never going to get out of development before his debut in WWE. So all good things must come to an end, and when The Rock came back to chase the title, CM Punk's time was coming. He wouldn't be collaborating the main event anymore. This is very smart writing, I must say. He lost to The Rock at Royal Rumble. He didn't beat the streak. He feels that the reason WWE brought back the Stars was because of buys and pay-per-view sales. Punk compared himself as a spoke on a wheel, and WWE wheel, I guess. And he was put into throwaway feuds, floated around the upper mid card, and never got anything going. Personally, he looked tired and bored, and I actually would agree with that, and I'll get to my view at the end. Obviously WrestleMania has come and gone, and he says his name is echoed through the crowds, name drawn onto signs and shirts worn like Austin 316 nostalgia. CM Punk gone doesn't weigh much for the machine. So either way with Punk, yeah, the guy is talented and a change of pace from what we have been seeing, but he started to sound like a broken record, and his boredom, his tired eyes spoke volumes about the man. He had tremendous matches with plenty of talent and wrestled from backyards to gyms to bingo halls to the biggest stage of them all. Punk lost his passion, and when there's passion gone, there's no motivation, and no motivation means there's no reason to push yourself. Punk admitted in an interview he was just getting by with doing 2 to 3 moves, a few punches, kicks, and that's it. Punk was able to have such a large fan base because he was a relatable guy. Punk made it to the top and he worked hard. He left an impression, and maybe one day he'll come back for the one match to retire, get closure, and move on to something else he's passionate about. All in all, he just hit another brick in the wall. That's very clever. Bit of Pink Floyd, eh? Steve Dawson, and basically he said, I'll try not to waffle too much, I tend to do that. Okay dude, you left me like about 2 pages full of stuff. He's basically just saying in his first paragraph that he was excited about CM Punk and that he had heard about him from the internet. He just loved that Punk was different and loved the straight edge kind of lifestyle. He said that he loved when Punk initially first turned heel. It was just something different and something that maybe hadn't been seen before, and it was a different version of Punk. Mentions like, something similar to what's been said about floundering amongst the mid-card, kind of just with pointless feuds. Kind of mentions that after last year's WrestleMania, the Punk's attitude changed and his ring work changed. I mean, he wasn't giving it what he would have before. He was just kind of stuck with feuds that could have been done better. Like I would agree with the Lesnar thing, it could have been better. I kind of feel like so basically Steve, as a big fan of Punk, as a fan from the early stages, like everybody that's kind of mentioned it to me, he just said, what do I make of this? Firstly, it's so effing unprofessional. His contract was up in June, and technically, he just mentions that technically he is still employed, so why not just grit your teeth and stick it out until after Mania? Maybe something would have happened to make us change his mind. Just look at all the great talent being pushed since Mania. Bryan, Cesaro, Shield, Page, just to name a few. Who's to say he could be right in the main event now? Back when he first left, I said WWE would miss his name more than his in-ring skills because he'd been phoning in for so long. But it's been 4 months and they seem to be doing fine without him. That seems to be the general gist of everyone. Like that clearly he's a missed man, but they can still get the views and the pulls and all that kind of stuff in without him. But I've lost where I was. Saying that if he had been able to, if he was a friend of Punk's, he would have said to go back out and watch his DVD to the part where he says to a friend, I want to change the business, you can't do that sitting on your couch, which is what Tim said as well, about that. Then he could have at least said, here, try it. but it didn't happen. I'm gonna go home, watch a shitload of hockey and screw my fiance. It's a bit mean. Come him back if he does come back, whether it's in a month's time or a year's time or more. Sure, if he's motivated, happy, free from those nagging injuries, and realizes the company doesn't revolve around one guy, yes, even Mr. Cena, then I'd be glad to see him back. But if he's genuinely happier being away from the ring, then good luck to him. I understand he's sent about money, so he's obviously minted and with a hot fiance. So I'd be happy with not being on the road for 300 days. But I'll finish with a question. Would Punk coming back in time for Would Punk coming back in time for Mania 31 make him a hypocrite? Making all this fuss about part-timers stealing Mania spots from regular roster guys? Would he do the same if the price is right? Money talks, especially when Vince gets his wallet out. And then he just says, that was longer than I anticipated. Kind of got into the mindset of writing a freaking article. So I just watched the video back and it was kind of out of focus, and I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna re-record it because it took so long, and I was trying to be as quick as I could and it was still very long, so I do apologise about that. Maybe it's a good thing because I look like shit today. Kidding. But basically, my thoughts on Punk are that I kind of come and go with what I feel is appropriate. Like, I understand that he was tired and fed up and just kind of, like what Vinny said, hit that brick wall, and where was he going to go from there if they're bringing up guys all the time, you know? So had he just paid his dues and was bored and lacked the passion? Probably, but if that's the reason that he left, then I can only respect that, because I can't imagine in that industry having to work with that kind of cloud in your head, you know, that kind of doom, I suppose. If it's for different reasons, then I just don't know. I really wish that we had some kind of closure on the whole thing, because we still don't know. Only a small amount of people do know, and I don't know if we'll ever get any information. Will he return? Probably not. I think he's done. I genuinely think he's done. He looks happier, looks healthier now. Would he get the same response? I don't think he would. I think that people would still be cheering and happy, but I think it would take a while for the fans. I say that, like, you know, the fans, like the ones that like toss and turn with superstars all the time. I don't think he'd get a good reception for a while. Should say he returned, it would take a few weeks, that kind of thing. I could be wrong. I'm just staring it out of my head. Like, on the other side, I am annoyed. He was my favourite. I've been a fan for years. I watched someone fight and fight and fight against this system because he was an indie kid, come up, like, you know, and paved the way for the rest of them to come through as well, like, you know, like Rollins and Cesaro, more importantly Daniel Bryan. You know, they're just three. There's plenty more, obviously, but he is the one that paved the way for all of the rest of them to come up. Oh my god. I'll end the video on this thought, and thank you all for your emails and everything. You are so kind. I'm sorry if the video is a little bit long. If you can't understand me and it's a problem, then I will refilm, but I'm sorry, I'm Irish, I talk fast, deal with it. Like I said, my opinion chops and changes. I agree with some people and I don't agree with this. Overall, if he's tired, worn out and can't do it, there's no passion, then I applaud the fact that he kind of made the bold choice to leave, but I don't applaud the fact that he left the fans high and dry. So that's just me being a selfish one though. So yeah, I'll wrap this up and see you very, very soon. Bye!
Hope that's in focus. Sitting on my bed. So, Axel's real name is Darren. He also I should just take this off. It's really annoying. Man, Amina, look at what they're going. Oh my god, what? So, oh my god. Like him or not, I think it's super handsome. I think it's super. Mr. Vinny Fucci. Is that how I say your name? I don't know. He also left me a long one, I think. That sounds really wrong. Yeah, anyone who's left me a long one, like, I will address in a second. My phone is gone mental.